Hi guys. This is a little new for me. This is the podcast space. Welcome back to the podcast nobody asked for, but I decided to make it anyway. This is Green H5 and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Not sure if it's a little noisy. I think it got darker. It might rain later. So this is the podcast, Lucky Clover Podcast, featuring me. I will have other guests with me on the channel as well, but this podcast is mainly going to focus on anime, K-pop, and other things that are on my mind. For the anime section, definitely we'll be diving into different tropes, different types of genres of anime, and those different aspects that come with it. So today, since it's Valentine's Day, a lot of people celebrate it. I don't personally. Um, but because it's Valentine's Day, I thought it would have been the perfect day to focus on shojo. Um, Shojo is a genre that is defined as it's a genre mainly made for female or targeted towards females. So most of its themes are based on romance, and it's based on love and relationships usually. So I know I'm behind with a lot of the anime reviews because I was actually reviewing Redo of Healer. I did episode 1 and 2. I did the review for episode 3. Still need to do the review for episode 4. And I'm pretty sure episode 5 is out. But like you guys can see, YouTube is not my full-time job. So I have to do work, and then I have other things that I'm doing, as well as trying to put videos together. I know I started the podcast. So definitely I want to do different things with my channel, definitely. And I hope you guys will continue to support me. Thank you so much for supporting me so far. I appreciate every single one of you that has been supporting me so far. And even if it's a one view, a one like, a one comment, even if it's on one video, everything counts to me. And I really do appreciate every single one of you that has hopped in. So since it's more uncut, because it's a podcast, it's going to be more uncut kind of content. This week we're focusing on shoujo. Next week we'll focus on shonen. I know everybody knows basic shonen things, so like Naruto, Bleach, Fairy Tail. Those are like shonen. So it's basically the opposite of shoujo. So shoujo focuses on the female audience. Shonen focuses more on the young male audience, and then seinen focuses on older men. And then we're gonna go through all of the different types of genres, definitely. And we'll also go through other K-pop related stuff too. So I hope you guys will enjoy that as well. So I did make notes, so I'll be looking down a little bit, but it's my first episode. I'll get better with doing all of these things later on. And I made notes about the different anime that I've seen, but it's been years. So I was really into shoujo when I was in my teenage years. I was more into shoujo and shonen actually in my teenage years. And most of this is coming from my teenage years, so a lot of them is not in my direct memory, so bear with me. So today, like I said, we're going to be focusing on tropes. So I'm going to be going through maybe 4 or 5 different tropes that are common in shoujo, I would say, from my perspective that I've seen. So the first trope we're going to look at is the making of chocolate. So I know a lot of people in modern day now, a lot of us will buy chocolate for people, but it seems like it's a thing in the Japanese culture for them to make the chocolate as well. I've spoken to a Japanese person before, and they explained it to me. They were saying that it's not only for romantic reasons. It's just to show love and appreciation to somebody that you really like. It can be a family member, it can be your friend. It's just a time period for you to just give love to everyone and everyone who is in your space. So that was very interesting to find out, because in all of these anime, even when it's not a shoujo anime, they would just make the chocolate and then go to the guy and let them know that they like them and everything, or the guy would expect chocolate from the girls. And that's another thing too that I saw. It was mostly the girls giving chocolates to the guys, but I think it's mostly based off of their society, that kind of a thing. So I'm not gonna look at that in any way. Maybe it's a societal thing, so to each their own. Maybe that's how their society is in terms of girls giving gifts to guys, so that's fine, that's perfectly fine. The next trope, I would say, the chocolate kind of leads into this trope as well, which is the trope of confessions. in like at the beginning of the anime you might see it, at the end of the anime you might see it, maybe in the middle of the anime you might see the confession trope of going, giving a letter, or meeting them at the end of school when they're doing chores, or meeting them in the park, or meeting them in the hallway, or when they're supposed to put on their shoes to leave. It's always that thing where you see them um, putting on shoes or doing basic things, and then someone comes to them and they do their confession. And it's a very interesting thing to see because I don't think we really do that in the Jamaican society per se. We, I know it's anime, but usually animators and illustrators use animations to kind of illustrate real life, or sometimes to um, add like extra things to real life. So, for example, usually Shojo Anime, a lot of them are also slice of life. So, it has more light-hearted themes, and it's usually very based in like a realistic kind of setting, so like a school setting or like a workplace kind of setting. So I don't know, but it would be interesting to see that in the Jamaican society. Usually, I don't know. When I was growing up, people would just send a text or like maybe talk to somebody aside. I wouldn't call that like a confession, or somebody's friend would come and say, hey, she likes you and he likes you, and that kind of a thing. But it's so interesting to see as well. And you can't really use anime as a descriptor for like a whole society, just like how you wouldn't want them to use like reggae and dancehall and certain music and hairstyle to define your whole society. So anime is just a part of it. I really like that anime shows a lot of the things that happens in their society, but it's not the sole thing that happens in their society. So I would say maybe read more, find out more about them. If you can talk to a native, try to talk to a native. If you have access to that kind of a thing to speak to a native, that would be cool as well. So let me see. I also wanted to give suggestions as well in terms of anime that I see these kind of tropes in. So, for example, I think the funniest example of this confession trope was in Nozaki-kun, when she came up to the guy and she's like, I really like you. Please, I would like you to be my boyfriend, so and so. But she didn't say like boyfriend outrightly, but he thought that, for example, he's a manga illustrator, and it was a secret. Nobody really knew that he was a manga illustrator. So he thought that she found out about it and was asking him for an autograph. So she gave him a book, and he was trying to, like, he gave her an autograph because he thought that she thought he was the manga artist and wanted an autograph. But they ended up being friends for that entire season of the anime, and they were just doing stuff together. She was still in love with him, but he had no idea about it. So I think that's a funny aspect of the confession trope, I would say, in shoujo. Another thing I would say is another trope in shoujo that I think is so, like, it's so common. Every single shoujo anime that I've watched has this trope, and they call it a love rival. So it might be an ex-girlfriend, an ex-boyfriend, somebody just transferred to the school. It can be the best friend of the girl or the best friend of the guy, or it could be a childhood friend. It always comes in like episode 16 to 20, or if it's a 12 episode anime, it comes in like episode 9. Like, it keeps you on the edge of your seat because you're like, oh my gosh, are they going to end up with the love rival? Are they going to end up with the main character? But they always end up with the main character. So sometimes it gets a little triggering because I've seen so many of them, and I'm like, the love rival is going to come. They're going to cause some mess. They're probably going to make the guy not like the girl anymore, or the girl not like the guy anymore. Then they're going to meet up at some sort of school festival or some sort of friend gathering at a carnival or something like that. And they're going to like each other again. And they're going to live happily ever after. Like, that's how it usually goes. So I'm not even sure. But like every one that I've seen, they have like a love rival. So for example, I see this in Oran High School Host Club. There were love rivals both sides. So for Haruhi had a love rival called Kasinoda. So Kasinoda found out that, spoilers for Oran High School. So Casanova found out that she was a girl. She was pretending to be a guy, and he found out that she was a girl, and he started liking her. So they were saying, how does he like her, and he doesn't know that she's a girl? And then they realized that he found out that the girl was pretending to be a guy so that she could pay back her debts to the host club, because in the first episode she broke a vase, and it cost like 8 million yen, and she had to pay it off. So she had to transfer in as a guy, dress up as a guy, and then try to pay off her debt using like turning into a guy and becoming a host in the host club. That anime was so... I watched that anime like 5 times. I don't need to tell you how good it is. I've seen it 5 times. So if you want to watch Oran High School Host Club, please, I recommend it. Please go ahead and look at that one. Also, there was another instance as well with the love rival trope. Yes, it was Kimi ni Todoki. Yes. So in that one, I think it was an ex-girlfriend. She came back. The guy changed his ways. He was completely nice. He wasn't that bad person anymore. And then the ex-girlfriend came and was trying to portray him as a certain way to the girl. And it's like she felt like she didn't know him anymore. But it worked out in the end as well. So, all right. Let's move on to the next trope. It's kind of like a love rival thing, but with a twist. So from rivals to lovers. You see this in different anime. So like, for example, with Lovely Complex. Lovely Complex was like, it touched my heart in a different way when I was a teenager, because I was always looking for like tall girl representation in anime, because usually the girls are between 5'5" and below. They're very petite. They're very small and cute. That's always the image that anime girls are given. But since I was watching anime so often, I was like, oh, I was seeing myself through anime characters. Like a lot of people see themselves through different, whether it be TV shows, cartoons. Like when you're younger, you're like, hey, you want to see images like you. You get me? So I didn't see a lot of tall girls. So when I saw this Shojo Anime about a really tall girl that had like difficulties with high school, or like finding a guy, or just navigating through the whole space of high school, I was like, it's something that's very, very interesting. And it's something I enjoyed, actually. I really, really enjoyed Lovely Complex. And so she had another guy. He was kind of like her rival. They both liked the same things. Like they liked the same music, same food. Every single thing. Is just that she was really tall and he was very short. So they didn't look at each other as like romantic partners. But then after they thought about it, they actually went through a few things together, and they realized that like they're perfect for each other. Like every single aspect, regardless, like they loved the exact, like they were the same person. They were legit the same person. It was so good. So if you want to watch an anime like that, I recommend Lovely Complex as well. And then we have the sad case. The sad case of Special A. This guy was so in love with her since they were kids. He was so in love with her, and she couldn't see it. I felt so bad for him. He was so in love with her. Like when I think about it now, when I was actually writing down my notes and I thought about it, I'm like, boy. Like he was so in love with her, and she didn't notice at all. And they were rivals because it was like a special program. That's what Special A is. Special A is like the top of top people in the school, and it's usually it turned out that the top of top in the school were the rich kids, except for the girl. She wasn't super rich, but the guy was really, really rich, like owning several companies in Japan and the world, kind of rich, that kind of rich. And they used to have a clubhouse that they have, I think it was the top 7 students. I don't remember. I think it's top 6 or top 7 students. And she was always number 2 and he was always number 1. And they have been in competition with each other for years, trying to tackle each other down for the number 1 spot. But he was always on top and she was always close to getting the number one spot. Like legit, there was an episode where she got 100% on a test, and she's like, I'm the new number one now because I got 100% on the test. And he went back to the teacher, pointed out a few mistakes on the paper, and got 120%. How that makes sense? How did that make sense? That made no sense at all. Like legit, he went back to the teacher and was like, sir, I think you made some mistakes on the paper. You kind of need to fix it. I pointed it out to you. And the teacher was just gracious enough to say, okay, so you don't get 100%. No. You get an extra 20% for pointing out my mistakes. Good job. And I'm just like, that's not what happened exactly, but in my head, that's what happened when he spoke to the teacher, because I don't see how that makes sense. That makes no sense at all. Legit. It doesn't make any sense. How do you go back to a teacher? I wish I could do that in university. Because if I could do that in university, boy, my grades. My grades would have been so much better. So much better. All right, so we went through giving and making chocolates, confession tropes. We went through love rivals, rivals to lovers, and now we're at everybody's favorite, harems and reverse harems. Oh, there's so many in there are so many in shoujo. It's ridiculous. But I would say it's a popular thing, but I think it's kind of overdone. But you have really good harems. So like, for example, you have Oran High School. I think, would Oran High School be a harem or a reverse harem? Yeah, both they fall in like the same categories. So, like Oran High School Host Club, Brothers Conflict, Otona Prince Summer, those are like good examples of harems. But you have some sketchy ones, and I think I'm a little problematic for liking. Okay, all right, bear with me. So there was this anime, right? It's called Diabolic Lovers. Don't judge me. I was like 14 or 15. This anime is a little questionable. I was living for it at the time. Hold on, let me explain. So it's about this girl. She ended up at this random house. She's just in this random house. Her father sent her there for some reason. Even though I finished watching it like maybe 7 years ago, and I still don't know why she ended up at the house, right? So she's at the house, and she ends up encountering this guy. And then we find out that the guy is a vampire, right? Then we find out that everybody in the house, they're all vampires. And that's when the assault begins. At the time, I thought it was just like playful bantering, like, oh my gosh, like they're being rough with her. It's so cute. Oh my God. It was very problematic. And it just registered to me that one of my favorite characters kept calling her the B word. And I thought it was attractive at the time. I think I need serious mental health. Hear me out. Okay. Imagine you're me, right? Imagine you are a 14 to 15-year-old female. Just I know you might be a guy. Just put yourself in my shoes 1 second. Just 1 second. Just put yourself in my shoes 1 second. All right. So you're a 14 and 15-year-old girl. And you're watching an anime of like maybe 6 to 7 very, very attractive young men. And you're kind of putting yourself in like a POV situation. You're like, oh my God, that's me. I'm that girl. They're treating me like this. Oh my God. Very problematic. Okay. And, oh boy. The opening song did slap still, you know. The opening song did, yeah. The opening song for Diabolic Lovers was top tier. But the anime was questionable at best. And it's always the anime that's strange or very unusual or very problematic that have some of the best opening songs ever. Or in the best ending songs. Like, it don't make any sense. It's like they draw you in with the music. They draw you in with the music. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. All right, let me go back to my notes. And I'm not used to like the unscripted kind of thing, but like that's what like podcasts are. They do like their research and stuff before, and then they come in front of like the camera or they record, and they some people edit, but I want it to be like an unscripted kind of thing. Okay, so where are we now? Yeah. But if you want a really, 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 really good, I think this one would be a harem because it was one guy and a few girls. This one is Amagami SS. I watched it when I was, I think, 12 or 13. Yeah, I watched it when I was 12 or 13. The opening song was good for the first and second season. The ending songs were good. The ending songs changed with each girl. So the basic concept of Amagami SS is that you get a few episodes with this one guy being with, I think it's 5 different girls. They're not all together at the same time. But if you liked a specific girl and you wanted her to be with the guy, you would get that. You would actually get that in the anime. So you'd have a few episodes with him developing a relationship with a different girl for each of it, and that girl would have their own ending song as well, which was very good. I thought it was a unique concept. So I think in the first set of episodes he was with an older girl. She was in a higher grade than him. Then another concept, it was a lower grade girl, and then the next one it was one of his best friends, and then another one it was this other random girl that he met. But it was a very interesting concept. Loved it, completely loved it. Very, very, very good anime. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Yeah, but yeah, it was a very good anime, I would say. Amagami SS and Amagami SS Plus. Very good. Then there's another harem. It's questionable. I liked it when I was watching it, but I didn't like it enough to finish season 2. So I watched it when it was ongoing, and then they renewed it for season 2, but I just lost interest. It was Infinite Stratus. So the basis of Infinite Stratus is this guy, he was the only one that could use the military suit. In that world, it was females only who were able to use the military suits and go to war. But for some reason, he had some sort of DNA thing that enabled him to use the military suit. So he ended up in a school of females and he was the only male. So of course he had females popping up in his room randomly, you know, same old anime. With anime you expect everything. If it's one guy and a bunch of girls, you're going to expect at least one of them in his bed by episode 6 or 7, just randomly, and then everyone else is going to burst into the room and be like, oh my gosh, she's in his bed, scandalous, oh my god. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. That's what usually happens. But yeah, I'm not sure about that anime because I really liked it. The opening song was good too. You know, it always happens, like the questionable anime or the anime that you're not sure you like or the anime that you don't like. It usually has really good opening songs. Why? It really does. Like, it's so confusing. It's really, really confusing. But I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm going to go to the last trope and then I'm going to close by giving a few recommendations. If you guys got this far, thank you. So the last trope that I see in Shojo, this might not be all of the tropes, I'm just going to cover a few of them. But the last one that I really like is lost friends. So like a childhood friend or that kind of a thing. So the anime that I'm going to recommend for this trope is Oharu Ride. Oharu Ride was an experience. I think I read the manga for it too. I read the manga because I don't think they had any more episodes for it, and it was really good. I really, really enjoyed it. So it's like the guy really changed when he became a teenager. They ended up back in the same high school, and he changed from when he was younger. He wasn't that guy that she remembered. So it's like she had to relearn him, and they had to relearn each other in terms of like their friendship, and then becoming like lovers afterwards. But it was a very good story. I enjoyed it. The opening song slapped. Sekai wa koi ni ojiteru. I don't want to get copyrighted. Let me not finish. Cut the cameras. Dead ass. All right, let me stop. Okay. So, recommendations. Let's just go back through. I didn't write down all of the recommendations, but let's just go through all the anime that I've mentioned. I didn't mention this one. I wanted to, but I didn't mention it. This one was supposed to go under Love Rivals, and it was Itsuya no Kiss. The Love Rival showed up during medical school, when both of them were in medical school. But I already glossed over that, but I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. All right, so recommendations, Itsuya no Kiss, Oran High School Host Club, Oharu Ride, Otano Prince Sama. I would say Brothers Conflict was good. If you want to watch Infinite Stratus, you can. Wouldn't recommend Diabolic Lovers, but I feel like I would watch it again, but I'm probably not going to. And Kimi ni Todoki. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, guys. So this was the first episode of the podcast. It was a little nerve-wracking. I wasn't sure what I was doing. I hope I did a good job. If you guys think I can add anything else, let me know. I'm always here, open for opinions. I want new recommendations anytime. So thanks for watching, and remember, come for the content, stay for the madness, and leave with the culture. Bye, guys.